As we take a deep breath and we enter into the sacred space of meditation, we enter into the light and the love and the conversation of our soul with its creator. Of our own inner power connected to our higher power. No matter what it has felt like in the past, you and God are inseparable. The light within you is indestructible. Whatever grief or pain, sadness, loss, fear, worry, doubt, joy, happiness, excitement, all of it is shared by the one Spirit. So right now, I want us to listen. For just a moment, I want us to listen with the depths of our soul to Spirit. What is the message that God wants you to hear today? Can you hear Spirit whisper sweet nothings? Can you hear how important your life has been on this planet and continues to be? Can you hear the whispers of your ancestors who are also connected to Spirit, praising you and encouraging your journey? Can you hear and feel love like you have never felt it before? In this moment, as we connect to the one power, we also connect to the truth that we are made manifest to bring the love and the joy of God to this earth. You are here because there is no one else who can do the work that you can do. You are important and your life matters. So as we deepen in and we feel this, I really want you to feel this truth. And if there is something in your mind that says it is not true, I want you to ask it to hush. Because the truth is that you are the divine spark of God. And now, as we embrace that, I would like to go into silence again. And please listen to the divine truth within you and how much you are loved. in this moment, we align with the truth that there is only one power in the universe. That power lives and has its being inside of us. We are part of the divine. Our essence cannot be separated from God. We know this truth with gratitude. We know that as we align with this truth, it comes forth today. It bubbles up and proves itself true to us today. And we see it, and we feel it, and we know it, and we claim it. With gratitude, with love, and with joy. In the name and through the presence of the Christ consciousness that dwells within us. And so it is. Amen. Get ready, my soul. I am diving in. I'm going to set a timer, and you'll know why in just a moment. So, I'm Cerise Patron, singer, songwriter, speaker. Haven't gotten to do that yet here, except for first service today, and that was fun. I have done this talk, the Trusting Your Inner Voice of Divine Wisdom sort of talk, other than this morning. I've done it one other time, and it was for a very small little church. And I said, this is something I love. Well, first of all, I love talking, but I really love getting divine inspiration, getting this call, this voice, and listening to it. I don't always listen to it, as you will hear during the talk, but I really love it. And so I got this beautiful, inspired voice the last time that I did a talk with this sort of theme that said, if you really want to be upfront and powerful, you need to put your money where your mouth is. So I was inspired to show up without planning or writing a talk. So I was planning this, and I went, I've done the talk. Now I know, right, most of the talk. So I will take notes, and I will write, because this is a little bit bigger church, and it's 2 services, and I want each service to be different, and all the little things. And I heard, nope, do the same thing. So guess what? I'm completely unprepared. But what I found out is God is not. So we're running with God today. So, trusting the voice of our divine wisdom, this voice that lives within us, this voice that is the voice that is guiding us all the time, even when we ignore it, even when we don't want to, even when we have 9 million excuses for why it wouldn't work, even when we would really rather do it our way because it's tried and true. No matter what, the voice is speaking. The voice is speaking to us, and very often when we listen, it is speaking through us, as us. So, I got a little nervous, let's say. I thought, well, what if I show up and I stand there twiddling my thumbs and I don't have anything to say? And I said that to my husband. He's like, I've never known you to not have something to say. You'll be fine. So, the very first thing we have to do when we trust our divine intuition is listen, right? So, is everyone in this room 100% listening to the divine inner voice all the time? Because if you are, raise your hand. We can all leave. We're done. I'm good. Be less nerve-wracking for me. I'm just kidding. So, we're not, right? And neither am I. I still worry And one of the things I said in first service, and it's really true, is the world is loud. And I'm talking noisy, loud, clanging all the time, and that's even if you don't watch the news. It's loud and it's annoying. And there's always somebody trying to tell you what to do or how to do things, or I know best, or this is the way, or no, you can't do that. No, you can't move because the place you're going to move is dangerous. Oh, gosh, I need to research more. Okay, no, you can't stay because the place you live is dangerous. Oh, crud, what am I supposed to do? And I realize that we've done that our whole lives. We've learned to push down the little still small voice and listen to something else. So it's no wonder we have such a hard time with it, right? When I was 3, my mother used to yell. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. My mother used to yell, "Stop singing. Nobody wants to hear you sing." I didn't realize she'd only meant in the grocery store. I took it literally, and I stopped singing for a really long time. And then I met somebody who was like, "You have a good voice, you should sing." And I was like, "Really, me? Okay." And then I did it. I don't think they could have held me back much longer anyway. But we are told things that we incorporate into our essence, our character, who we are, and our purpose on earth that probably shouldn't even get an honorable mention at the bottom of the page of the book of our life. Parents who tell us things that they didn't know, so they shouldn't have said it, but we shouldn't have held on to it. Teachers who force us to do things conforming to the ways of a classroom. Raise your hand if you have to go to the bathroom. Ask permission if you have to do this. When you're a teenager, do this. When you're an adult, do this. Here's how you pay bills. Work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. Make your life matter, but don't step outside of the comfort zone. So when somebody says something like, "You should really trust your divine inner voice," we go, "Cool." Whatever that means, cool. And we practice. So I know everyone here has probably had some experience, even if you don't think you listen often, or even if you do think you listen often. We have experience because when we go into meditation, when we are quiet, we get a gut feeling. We hear the wind blowing leaves and we go, "Oh, everything's going to be okay." That's God. When your gut says, "You really shouldn't turn down this street, go to the next one," and you don't know why, but you do it, and nothing bad happens, you may not make a mental note of it. You may not say, "Oh, look, I was saved from something," because you don't know what you were led away from. I'm going to ask this question, and you do not have to raise your hands. How many people in this room prayed for a relationship to work with a person that you should never have been with, and it fell apart, and now you look back and you're like, "Oh, thank you, God." Is it just me? No. Okay. The thing is that when we listen to the inner voice, this still, and I said this in first service and I'll say it again, I always think to myself, is the still small voice still small because I haven't paid any attention, so it hasn't been able to get louder? And I actually think that's true. And not just a little quip. It is true. When I listen to my inner voice, it gets louder, it gets more confident, and I get more confident listening. So the very first thing we do is listen. And then we have to put it into practice. We have to try it. That's where my next story is going to come in, because this is the part I'm not always so great at. Up until now, tomorrow, of course. I'll never stray again. So Many of you know that I've been creating a new album. I am so excited it's almost done. It's going to be released at the beginning of May. It's taken some time and effort and some money. That's okay, that's how things work. But I have wanted to put this album for 5 years. I wrote most of the songs on the album 5 years ago during the pandemic. And I really wanted to get this music out to the world. There are a lot of songs that are really personal to me. They say what my soul feels, and I was really ready to do that. I felt this call. Go, get your music out to the world. It's time. This is going to be my 5th album. So, yes, a new album with a new message, with something new. Perfect. So I got this still small voice that said, you know who should do this with you? Daniel Nahmod. And I thought, well, there's my ego being crazy, being ridiculous, because there's no way that I, of all people, could go have an album produced by Daniel Nahmod. So I called a different studio. I called a studio that had great reviews. It had been in business for 20 years, great reviews, but I had to pay the whole album up front. So I'd been saving money for this album. Okay, I paid it. We got in the studio, recorded a couple of songs. COVID shut everything down. The studio went bankrupt. I never saw my money or any of my music. The joke I told in first service that's not really a joke, and all of you probably know that, is I had a lot of time to sit at home and cry because everything was shut down. So I got to wallow for a bit. So then I heard the voice again. Now, you know that I'm not going to tell you the voice got louder because I didn't pay attention to it. It got softer. I heard a whisper like, hey, you should really call Daniel. Now's a good time to call Daniel. No. So I did not, because I really could not imagine that voice was real. So I did not call Daniel Nahmod. I found a different studio with a different producer who had good reviews. He'd done a few of my friends in Phoenix's CDs. So I knew this was going to be fine. So I paid half of the project up front, not the full thing, thinking I had learned my lesson. And we got started. And we got one song complete. And I got a call from his wife that he was in an accident and had to close his studio so that he could go for treatment in Colorado. Not only is not listening to your inner voice a pain in the behind, it can be expensive. Okay, well, then I was like, you know what? Maybe the universe is trying to tell me I'm not supposed to put music out. Maybe the universe is trying to tell me I'm not good enough to have a new album. Maybe the universe is telling me to shut up. Stop singing. Nobody wants to hear you, like my mom did in the grocery store when I was 3. And I get a call. Every year, I go to the affiliated New Thought Network. They're a religious science umbrella organization. Their annual conference at Unity Village in October every year. So I get a call last year that says, hey, we would love for you to sing a song for one of the events, and Daniel Nahmod is going to play piano for you. And I went, what? Daniel Nahmod's going to play piano? Yes. Okay. So Daniel calls me. I'm going to tell you, he's now a good friend of mine. I'm going to just jump ahead for 1 second. He's a good friend of mine. But you know how you have like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite famous person, and I can't breathe because, oh my gosh, my favorite person. That was me with Daniel. So I was on the phone like, hi, it's so nice to talk to you. Hi, yeah, I'm Cerise, So he says, look, I saw a couple of YouTube videos, and I hear that you sing my song, Get Ready, My Soul. And he's like, I really love your version. So for this event that we're doing, I would like for you to sing it and for me to play for you. At that point, there's no way I'm saying no. So I said yes. I showed up to this event. I was sweating. My heart's racing. I have this thing nobody really knows I have, but when I'm standing here singing, sometimes you'll see me grab something like this. It's because my knees shake, still to this day. I am terrified to be up here speaking or singing or any of this stuff. I'm terrified. I'm going to probably write a book about my life at one point, and then you'll know all the reasons why. It'll come. But here's the thing. I did it. I did it terrified, shaking, sweating, scared out of my mind, and I sang the heck out of the song because I don't know how else to sing it. And afterwards, I heard, ask him about the album. So I was like, well, what do I have to lose now? So I asked him, and he's like, yes, I've just put together a new studio, and that is what I want to do, is help other people get their music out. I would be honored to do this with you. So since August of last year, we've been getting music together. Since January, I've driven to California 5 times to lay vocals, and it's almost done. We're in the it's being mastered 12 brand new songs. Here's the thing, and I'm going to say this with this is the absolute truth, I really want you to hear what I'm going to say, okay? This amazing thing that happened to me didn't happen because I'm special. It didn't happen because I'm closer to God or not as close to God or because I sing or because I don't sing. The universe is always trying to lead you to your good. The universe is always telling you what the next step should be. The universe is always loving you, holding you, supporting you, guiding you. It's doing the same for all of us because we are all loved. We are all included in that. The universe is powerful and knows that we are here for an important reason and we make a difference in the world. And when we listen to the voice, it is raising our vibration. We rise to a higher level. And in a world where the news, your parents, your kids, the kids. I have a 17-year-old daughter. Somebody apologized profusely to me this morning. All of these things are so loud. So I'm going to share a song with you really quickly, a little ditty that I wrote this morning that has to deal with this. I wrote it in the car on the way, and I was like, oh, if it comes up during the talk, I'll sing it for everybody. The universe was like, first service? No. Second service, I guess you're getting it all. So, if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes for one moment. It's a very simple chant. I'm listening. I am listening to your voice. I am listening when the world is only noise. I am listening. I am listening to your voice when the world is noise. God, I'm listening to your voice. I am listening. I am listening to your voice, so I am listening when the world is only noise. I am listening. I am listening for your voice when the world is noise. God, I'm listening to your voice. So when all we have is noise around us, when the storms are raging, remember to be listening to God. Because once we are listening and we hear, and the voice gets louder, we hear more often, we practice, we discern the voice from the voice of fear and doubt that comes up so often in our lives. When we discern and we know the voice of God, we hear it and we go, oh, I know you. I know you, and I know you are for my highest good, so I will follow. Even if it doesn't sound plausible, possible, believable to anyone else in the world, you know that if God is telling you, it is your path. And here's the thing, and this is the coolest thing I'm going to tell you, and it was proven to me, with the Daniel Nahmod situation. We often imagine ourselves sitting at a river, and all our good is flowing, and we talk about living in the flow, right? So the good is flowing, and we sometimes push like a rock in the river, like, no, I want that to stop because I really want that. And so we talk about letting the flow happen and living in the flow and all the flow of good. Sometimes we imagine that if it passes us, it ends up downriver and we will never see it again. And I have a beautiful friend who is a minister in Phoenix, and she said, Reverend Leslie Goodwin said, what you need to realize is that you are in the river, you're not outside of it, and it's an infinity symbol. Your good will never be gone from you permanently. It may look like it may cost you a lot of money, but in the end, your good will come back around because it is meant for you. It is part of your purpose. So don't be afraid to follow the voice, or possibly say no to the voice and then take notes and go, oh, I probably should have followed the voice. Because the more you practice, the more you make mistakes. The more you practice again and hear and recognize and discern the voice of God, the more you will hear it, the better your life will feel. The more in tune you will be. The more aligned you will be. And the higher your vibration will rise. Because we are not here to live on a level plane. We are here to incrementally rise up. Because we do that, and it gives permission for others to do the same. So today, let us rise. Let us listen to the voice of God. Let us follow that voice to live our purpose and to rise above the noise, to be all that God has meant us to be. And so it is.